This is not just another golf podcast. This is Golf Underground. This is Golf Underground. We just happen to be the third funniest podcast in golf. Anyway, we interview PGA Tour pros, Hall of Fame athletes, rock stars, business leaders. Sure, we talk about golf, but we have fun. All right, let's do it. Welcome to Golf Underground. Now your hosts, Wardo, Sully, and MLB Hall of Famer, George Brett.
Hey, welcome to Golf Underground. Here we are. I'm Wardo. George, great to be back.
It's been a while since we've done one of these shows.
Yeah, not that long, George. I believe it was
Summer gets in the way.
our boy Zach Brown from F1
Yeah.
was our last good guy. And by the way, you were supposed to go visit him at an F1 event. Did that ever
I
happen
am
this
supposed to
summer?
go to Austin and then afterwards go to play Augusta National with him and his crew. And he hasn't sent me all the information that he said he was going to send.
I hope you get.
How would that be?
That would be amazing. Oh my God.
I bet you're going to get the call.
My first Formula One race ever, and then I get to go play Augusta National.
He got the call for the Ryder Cup and he told me no.
Who did?
George.
What do you mean? Why?
Well, I haven't officially said no yet.
You get a lot of.
I think it depends on how my Kansas City Royals are doing.
I know.
Playoff run.
I know. What do you think?
Yes.
Are you you're a Royal fan, aren't you?
Well, there's another team that is really close blue to the Royals. And being a Southern California boy, I think you can figure which one that is.
The Dodgers. How about the Dodgers? What's their payroll?
Oh my God.
More
What's
than
the
mine.
Dodgers payroll, do you think?
More than
I mean, I have no idea what it is.
I have no clue. I'd have no
I
idea.
think the Royals is like 110, 120, and the Dodgers have won 8 more games than the Kansas City Royals. Is that unbelievable? With a 200 over, maybe $250 million more.
I mean, that's millions per win.
Probably.
And that's what it comes down to.
We're gonna. You think we're gonna make it?
I don't know.
What are we
We
start-
got to start
two
scoring
out now?
runs.
Two out?
2.5 out of the wild card. But that's all right.
All right. Well, listen, we got to have a lot of
Yeah.
golf coming up. We've got a very smart golf man, Mario Cesario. We'll give you the formal intro. Wardo tells me you're a Hall of Fame club maker. I mean, that's like being a Hall of Fame baseball player, for crying out loud.
Well, we have a hell of a marketing department here at TaylorMade. So, where they got the Hall of Fame, maybe they took it off of my dad's career because he was truly a Hall of Fame club maker and voted into the Club Makers Hall of Fame when he was alive. But hopefully 50% of his legacy and his skills and talents passed on to me. So maybe that's where they extrapolated a little bit.
Walk back on that. So growing up, you're seeing him, I'm guessing he's tinkering and building stuff in the garage. Like walk through that growing up and what that was like.
Well, the one story I like to tell, because everybody asks, well, your dad was a club maker and obviously he was mostly a wood maker. He wasn't tinkering too much in irons or wedges or putters. He was shaping and designing and building woodwoods by hand. So how I got into kind of the understanding of golf club design and specifically with wedges was I won a junior tournament at the club. My parents were members at when I was like 14, 15 years old, and I had $100 credit in the pro shop. So I went in there, and because my dad didn't make wedges at the time, I went into the rack and I was looking through the pro shop and I found this wedge. It had this brown shaft and I flipped it over and it said Wilson R90 on it. And it was brand new and it just looked cool. It looked retro and it had this big old sole on it, probably had about 22 degrees of bounce on it. So I took it and I went out to the range and I was pitching around and went to the green and I was like just blading every other shot, pretty much trying not to break a window in the clubhouse because I couldn't get that leading edge under the ball. And I went down to my dad's golf shop that afternoon and I said, Dad, this thing sucks. What's going on with it? And he flips it over and he's looking at the bottom of the sole and he says, come over here, son. Let me show you a little something about wedge design. So he takes me into one of the rooms in his golf shop and it has a big grinding machine. And he says, okay, I want you to go ahead and swing a couple swings off the cement and just let me see where the club bottoms out. So I hit a couple off the cement, kind of like you would off of a lie board. and looked at the bottom, and there was this big mark on the very trail edge of that sole where the bounce point was. And he says, well, you have to get that out of there. You have to change the geometry of this club. And I'm like, geometry, Dad, that's not my best subject in school. What's geometry? And he says, all right, turn on the machine. So he shows me kind of how to hit the machine on the wheel, hit the wedge on the wheel. And he says, and he got a Sharpie and he marked a little area. And he says, I want you to take that off. So I grind it. I'm 14, 15 years old, and I'm grinding this thing, barely touching. And he says, just don't lose a finger. That's all I want from you. And then I hit another one off the cement, and that mark went from the very back of that sole to more the middle of the sole. And he says, see the movement? Because you're getting the bounce in the better place. And I went back up to the club that afternoon and started pitching it, and I could get the club under the ball, and the leading edge was sitting lower. And kind of that just, the light bulb went off, and away I went, understanding that you can change the geometry of a sole and create completely different performances on a wedge. And that was 1976, 77.
Wow,
Unbelievable.
that's awesome. Well, so you're obviously very good at this. Before we went on air, you told us a nice story, a nice victory over in Ireland, representing you. Tell the folks what just happened.
Oh my gosh, what a summer it's been. Let me give you a little lead up to that because that makes it even better. MG5, which we launched to the marketplace last week, was a wedge that we've been working on for almost 2.5, 3 years. And I mean, we're always working on wedges, and we're doing different things on different projects that you don't know exactly when they're going to come out within the product life cycle. But my official visit to the tour to show the tour players what we called was the MG Proto was at the Memorial. And I got to get out there, and I've spent time with a lot of our tour players over the last 6, 7 years as I've been designing wedges and spending time with these guys because they have to trust me. They have to develop a relationship. I'm not out there every single week, but they understand that this is one of the key designers. This is the shaper. This is the guy that understands the sole geometry and what a wedge needs to look like. I mean, I have a huge team behind me building wedges. I'm just not on a computer as a CAD engineer. I'm not an engineer. I'm a golfer that understands club design. But anyway, back to Memorial. So I got a chance to work with Tommy Fleetwood, and Tommy's one of the most incredible set of hands I've ever seen on the PGA Tour. And the way he goes about his practice and understanding wedge performance and technique, I mean, literally, he knows all of his launch conditions on every single wedge shot and every single distance with all of his wedges. He has 3 wedges in his bag. He's incredible. He'll call out his numbers. He knows his window. But get back to the Memorial. So when we started working with Tommy and showed him the MG Proto at Memorial, we're off of the tight, beautiful bent grass lies at Memorial. And he's kind of like, I don't want to hit any off of this. And then we're kind of like, well, why not? And he goes, this is not where my issue is. My issue is with the bunker right now, because his bunker play was inconsistent at his caliber. And he was struggling because there was a lot of different sands that he was playing up to that point. So we go into the bunker, and he's hitting his Titleist wedge, and it's coming out nice. It looks like a very nice shot. It's a super elevated green where the practice area is. So he's trying to get it high, but also get it coming in super soft. And what he likes to describe is he likes to see the ball almost in slow motion. So he wants to create speed at the bottom, but he wants to see the ball in slow motion. And he plays our TP5 Pix ball, as you know, and he almost sees the Pix design spinning. That's how he wants to see his golf ball out of the bunker. And he's hitting them 2 feet, 3 feet, great shot. And he says, see how that ball's rolling out? And I'm like, I'll take that rollout any day of the week. I kind of understand what he's experiencing. And basically it came down to he had too much bounce on his current wedge. And that's why he was getting fast shots and they were coming out a little bit lower than he wanted. So I went to a little bit less bounce and I went to a narrower sole, and he hit one shot and it lands about a foot shorter than all the other shots. And he turns to us and says, did you see that? And we're all like pretending, yeah, we saw that. But we really didn't, but we just saw where it wound up. Then he started hitting a few more, and you could literally see the trajectory increase and the ball coming down just in a slower speed. It was crazy. And he said, that is spectacular. Now let's go out of the rough. And this is completely opposite of when I fit a player. I'm not spending too much time in a bunker or dramatic amount of time in the rough. I'm taking care of shots all around the green. So we go to the rough, and he's all about, we play a lot of rough out here. I don't want any resistance in the rough. I want it to cut through like a hot knife through butter. And he started hitting. And the wedge that I put him in was basically our SB grind, which is about 10 degrees of bounce on the 60 that he was playing. Narrow sole, beautiful four-way camber, just kind of our all-around wedge. And he saw the same thing out of the bunker, that the club was getting through quicker. And away we went, and look at the win that he had, obviously 3 weeks ago with his first victory at the Tour Championship. Let's fast forward a little bit to Rory, because Rory is a pretty cool story. Rory is very specific on different things than Fleetwood. He pays attention to the looks of the wedge. He pays attention to the feel of the wedge. Tommy is much more visually performance driven by the ball, and Rory is a little bit more feel and looks. Yeah, when he puts a wedge down, there's certain things that he wants to see. One, he wants to see really zero offset. He wants that leading edge straight as this pencil or pen, and no offset, no leading edge radius, just straight down. And personally, it's not the look that I would like to see in many players, but he's just gotten used to understanding how his face angles, when he opens and closes it, he sees exactly where that face is aiming, which is pretty cool. That's why he likes it super straight. So we've kind of, I would say, our internal world, we've Frankensteined a wedge for him over the last 3 to 4 years that he's been very happy. And that's just getting him the shape. And I've worked really closely with all the details of what his toe needs to look like, what the leading edge, what the bounce is, because it's kind of a hybrid of a lot of wedges that he's played over his career. All of his other 3 wedges in his bag are really just stock wedges. Nothing too crazy, but it's that 60 that just has to have this unique personality.
You said, sorry to cut you off, he plays it pretty square, so he doesn't open it up as much as some guys. Is that what I heard?
So, no, he plays a square leading edge, but he opens it up plenty.
Got it.
But it's different because he controls how much he opens it up based off of the clarity of how much his face looks like it's opened. When you get a really round leading edge, a lot of players like that when you open up the face, because it still looks like the face is pointing at your target.
Right.
With Rory, that doesn't bother him. He likes to see the degrees of openness. I'll put it that way, if that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey, and I could ask you as well. Well, I'm just curious, what wedges should a regular guy have in their bag? You know, when I say regular guy, I mean you're a 7 to 13 handicap. Does everyone need a 60? Does everyone need a 54? Like, what's your take?
Wedges is not so scientific from a fitting standpoint as like a driver. You know, drivers, you know what you need to get distance, to get speed, and to get accuracy. With wedges, it's so much more of an art form of fitting because every player requires something different. It's the only club in the bag that you're hitting such a variety of shots off the ground, and players have uniquely different swing styles from player A to player B. So to kind of put a bow around what a player should look for, I would say in the elementary form, it's making sure that your distances and your gaps are appropriate from your pitching wedge into your highest lofted wedge. That's really the basics of wedge fitting, is let's make sure we have the right distances and the right lofts to produce those distances off of that. And that's pretty simple. One
side note on that, just real quick, is when we come in, that's obviously one thing that we look at, and it's like the guy will have a 58. He'll have this like 58 that's his bunker club, and then this like there's no science or reasoning behind that. And so a lot of times, like, that's just low hanging fruit when it comes to distance wedges and how far to control your ball. So not to cut you off, but that's something that's like, you'll have the guy will have a 60 that he wanted to scramble right next to his 58 in his bag. And yeah, it's like, I'd get so dang confused.
So I got a 56, a 60, and a 50.
Your 56 is bent to 55, so you're gapping.
Yeah, because I used to be able to hit it 100. Then all of a sudden, I'm 72. I'm hitting it 95. So all of a sudden, now we got Kevin brought it in. He bent the shit out of it. And now it goes 100 again. But I got the 60, 55, and a 60, which I think can cover all the distances until the wedge.
Correct. I mean, you got to be careful when you bend the shit out of something, because if you're bending it super strong, you're taking all the bounce out of it. You're putting on offset. And Kevin,
I've been at 1 degree.
Okay, you're fine.
Bend the shit out of it.
Well, it goes 100 yards again. That's good.
Been at 1 degree.
Can you play with 16 clubs on the senior member guys?
Yeah, you can play. I play with it. I don't play by the way.
One thing too, to answer Sully's question, is getting a little nerdy, but a lot of it's what climate you play golf in, right? So here in the Midwest, on the bounce profiles, we're in a very soft, soupy. We're playing off Zoysia a lot. The conditions are a lot softer than they might be out in Arizona during the middle of the winter when it's nice and firm and fast. And so a lot of times a player here can get away with using a little bit more bounce than somebody that's in Arizona, where they're going to maybe, and the good players can get away with a little bit more low bounce, especially in that 60. But me personally, I've always just played a touch more bounce in that middle wedge, especially for like a longer bunker shot, or you get into fluffy sand. And then that just helps me with my shot selection and bunker game.
Biggest mistakes. What do you do the most?
80, I think, Cesar, I'd love your opinion on this, but I think 80% of it's setup. The setups are just a lot of people set on their right side, too much tilt. And like before the guy hits one, you're like, this isn't going to work.
What about open stance versus?
I mean, they're all over the board in that, in my opinion. I see some guys that are kind of old school, open up, and then they kind of drop it under, and then that. So sometimes you got to teach that guy to get a little more squared up, where some people flip it. The other thing on the 60 versus 56 or highest wedge that I see is when a guy delivers a club and I'm looking at him and he's launching his 60 at like 35 or way too high. I'm trying to teach him the technique, but I try to get him down to that 58 is the highest wedge, or maybe even a 56. Because sometimes when these guys are flipping it, like that 60, it doesn't do much for them because they're only hitting that thing, popping it up in the air 65 yards. But if they're delivering it with kind of toss and flip, I think they can do the same thing with a 58 or 56.
I rarely hit. Boy, I love that.
You got a great short game, don't you?
I don't know if you agree with any of that, but that's what I'm seeing a lot.
No, I'd agree with you 100%. When I'm watching players, you were talking earlier about setup, that even before, I mean, the fitting methodology that I execute really has a lot to do with setup, swing motion. I think there's so much out there about angle of attack this day and age in the wedge world. And unfortunately, that is 50% of the picture. That is half the picture of really executing proper bounce and ground understanding. Because if you just keep preaching, get steep, angle of attack, get deep, people have to learn how to exit the ground and come out of the ground. And the good players know that as steep as you are into the ball, you have to exit almost just as quick. We have high-speed video of a bottom of an arc of some of our best staff guys. And really, you're talking about the difference of probably 5 to 6 golf balls is what I would call that flat spot. And it's not even flat, because the club will be coming down on its angle of descent into the golf ball. And quickly after impact, it will immediately start exiting and vertically getting out of the ground. I mean, some players are steep, they're more like V's, some players are more like U's, but it is not a big area. So it's just, there's a lot going on down there, and how to get the club out of the ground really comes down to making sure that the bounce or the grind that I fit a player into complements how he gets out of the ground and how he wants to get out of the ground. When you think about it, on a longer wedge shot and you're hitting golf ball first, bounce really doesn't have anything to do with the performance of that shot. And we're talking maybe like a 50, 60-yard shot, because you're hitting golf ball first. Yes, the club is exiting or getting into the ground after impact, but really the ball's long gone. It had no impact on the performance. But when you get around the green and now you're executing or impacting that golf ball more simultaneously with the ground, and that collision is happening together, now bounce is actually playing a bigger part of performance. That makes sense.
This goes for both of you. Everybody wants to get that spin, that second hop spin. And a lot of amateurs can't do it. What's the trick, boys?
Thanks for joining the Golf Underground. Now, the Golf Underground is brought to you by Star Companies, KC. Experience a more energy efficient and comfortable home with Star's insulation services. Regal Distributing, specializing in the distribution of food service and professional cleaning supplies to a variety of industries. Cowell Insurance, providing brokerage and risk management services for over 25 years. Sono Orthopedics, care plans backed by research and clinical results tailored perfectly to individual needs. Bob Sight Ford and Bob Sight Independence Kia, where you'll score a double eagle on your next car or truck. Lewisburg Ford, nobody sells more F-150s than Lewisburg Ford. And Celebrity Greens, put a custom PGA caliber putting green in your backyard for the ultimate golf experience. Now, onto the program.
Exactly what he said with Fleetwood. So Fleetwood's coming in with a lot of speed through that, and then he's seeing that ball come off in slow motion per se. But I don't see the recreational golfer hitting their short game shots with enough speed because they're afraid of the result per se, and or their setup is wonky or they're set up like a driver. So that's what I see.
I'd agree 100%. Speed produces spin, but speed with presented loft also produces spin, meaning the more loft you can expose at impact with speed actually will create spin because you're catching that ball on the bottom of the golf club. You got to catch it in the lower part of those grooves, probably in like the 3 to 6 groove range. That's where the lower you can get the ball, the more the center of gravity is above the ball at impact, and that produces that low launch, that high spinning shot. So it's definitely technique based, and the better your technique, the more spin you can put on the ball.
It's still pretty steep, though. Still coming at it steep.
I mean, everyone's different. There's a big camp right now, steep or shallow, and I think it's a blend depending on the golf shot and the player, like Cesar was saying, but you don't have to get incredibly steep. You don't have to get incredibly steep in order to create spin.
But here's the problem amateurs face all the time. They go to their local country club. They're having really crummy balls on the short game area or whatever. They're trying to create that with a bad ball. And these guys go out and they got the ball that they play, but softer ball that'll do that. Am I correct? And
100%.
for us guys to go to a place and go, God, I just can't get it. I can't get it. Well, you're playing a crummy ball.
Right.
You're not playing the ball that you're going to be playing when you're playing on the course.
And then you double.
And because I've tried to get him to stop, I can't get him to bounce twice and stop.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
And if you can't do it on that beautiful zoysia that you guys have, you can't do it anywhere.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I play in Arizona in the wintertime, and I play at Whisper Rock, and it's real tight. Man, it takes me 3 or 4 times playing, and you got a little chip shot, a little flopper over a bunker. Man, I skull that thing or chunk it every time. Then I go to the back of the range, and all I do is chip for about an hour because it's completely different playing off the grasses in Arizona compared to playing off the zoysia here in Kansas City.
Just go watch my friend Joe Sposey hit wedge shots. You know, Sposey.
I know, Joe. Yeah.
I
In fact, I made a
Watch
Sposey
his
yesterday.
hands.
I went to the Mexican food last night with my family, and before I went, I had a Sposey. You know what that is, don't you?
I could only imagine.
Fresca tequila. Instead of a margarita, I made a Fresca tequila before I went to have Mexican food. A Sposey.
And then you went out to play. That's how he does
I'm going to
it.
text Bose today after we get done and tell him I spent the morning with you.
So good.
Sounds great.
He was good friends with our pal Gary Zancanelli, who passed away.
Yep.
He was another baseball legend.
You only focus on wedges, or do you work with other clubs as well?
No, so I have 2 jobs at TaylorMade. One of my primary jobs is I'm our regional staff manager for all of our club professionals in the western half of the country. So my job with guys like Kevin and our best players in the country is to fit them and take care of their club needs as like their tour rep. I go out and recruit staff professionals and help drive the commercial business at our green grass facilities. That's huge, and that's kind of the foundation of my time at TaylorMade. And then on the other side, I'm doing all the wedge design and wedge fitting. So when a player comes to me to get fit for his clubs, when he comes out to the kingdom, I'm going through his whole bag. I mean, that's kind of my background as a full service operation here. Yes, they're excited when I get to the wedge part of the fitting because I spend an hour plus on wedges where I might spend 20 minutes on their driver, and they want to do the opposite. Probably like the average guy that comes into the shop is that I don't want to hit wedges for an hour. My back can't hold that up. I'm not that good, and I don't think it's that important. But after an hour, hour and a half wedge session, they're blown away, and no matter what, they feel better about their game when they leave. Even though it wasn't as impactful, they get home. I mean, I'll go back to a funny story. The first time I worked with Rory, I was down at Bay Hill, and we were struggling with wedges with him. He was in and out of some competitor wedges, and it was just time to spend an hour and a half, 2 hours with Rory, which is very rare for him to even be around a wedge green for that long. So it was Monday at Bay Hill 4 years ago, and we went to the green and we just hit shots and shots around all the greens, bunkers, and everything. And I was just blown away with how good Rory's hands were, because he gets a little bit of a knock for not being a great wedge player, as you know. But in my opinion, he struggles more on the full, longer shots and three-quarter shots than what he does around the green. He is magical around the green. So long story short, we spent a good hour and a half around the green testing, trying to figure out what he was looking for. And he went on. He didn't win that week, but he led in almost every short game category after that. And I remember him walking to the range afterwards with me. He said, I haven't spent that much time around the green in a year.
Well, you did him a solid.
So it was just, some guys will spend a lot of time. Some guys will focus on other things.
So you do all this work with wedges. You do anything with 5 irons, 6 irons, 4 irons?
Yeah, I'm super old school, Brett. I teach guys how to chip with 5 and 6 irons.
No, I mean, you're doing the bounce and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You do anything with those too?
You know, the only thing that I'll do from a shaping standpoint on an iron, and usually I just do it on my own personal irons, is I like really thin top lines. I like a forgiving iron. I play our 770 iron, but I like a thin top line. I like it to look like our TW blades. And then I'll do a little bit of a sole grind also on my irons because I like a narrow sole, fairly shallow, so I don't like a big wide sole, but I like the forgiveness of that 770 head. So I kind of do my own little Frankenstein there. But for the most part, most players are not grinding their soles on irons, George.
To give you an example, when I went out to the Kingdom a couple of years ago and did some testing, we spent, not to downplay it, but we didn't spend that much time on 7 iron. He's like, what do you like about your current? Like, we hit 2 heads and maybe 2 to 3 shafts. And then it was on to the next thing for driver and wedges, and spent some time in their putting lab. And so I agree, like, give me a 7 iron and I'll kind of try to make it work, or a set of irons, but where I like to spend more of my time and where my scores and everyone else's scores are more heavily influenced, are woods, wedges, putter. Mm-hmm. And then it's just finding on the irons, it's guys finding something that meets what they're doing. Most people, when they come in, they say, why don't I see more graphite shafts and irons? And I say one word, ego. And so I think finding something that's a low CG, as a lot of these golfers age, and getting the ball up in the air is huge on the iron standpoint. And a lot of these guys want to come in and try to hit a blade, and then they lose that argument pretty quick once they see the ball speed and the peak apex numbers. So,
hey, who's the coolest guy on tour you've?
Fleetwood is probably one of the most enjoyable experiences I ever had working with him. I mean, they're all so different. I've spent a lot of time with Colin, and Colin is like a blend, in my opinion, of Rory and Tommy. Colin is very much about feel. He's about ball flight on full shots and spin rates. He's about exact distances with his irons and his wedges. He's particular about his sole geometries, but not that much. he could play 2 or 3 different soles, and he actually does. He'll interchange some different wedges depending on conditions. That's an interesting question where when I get asked a lot, hey, do I need different soles or different grinds for different places? And, I would basically say yes and no to that. You look at Scotty Scheffler, the guy uses the same wedge for the last 5 years, and it's literally has no grooves left on it, and he spins the crap out of it. But he doesn't change based off of conditions. I mean, tour conditions are so consistent from week to week. They're tight, bent grass, ryegrass, overseeded. Everything is tight and firm for the most part. So they don't really need to change wedges. The only place they really change is when they go overseas to the Open Championship and things get hard as rocks over there. And then they'll go to some lower bounce designs. The thing about going to the Open Championship is it really gets confusing for guys, because if you've been over there, you understand that you have these tight, hard as a rock fairways, and then you go into these bunkers that are fluffy, powdery, heavy sand that you actually need bounce. It's a tricky situation a lot of times when guys go over there. Most of the times they change their technique out of the bunkers because they just know what to expect, but they'd rather have the exact right grind off of all the fairways. So yeah, it's wedges. Like I said in the beginning, there's so much personality and variety. I love this category. It's art, it's craftsmanship, it's technique, and I love bringing it all together because the average consumer out there doesn't understand wedges, not only even from what they need in their bag, but I think also, as Kevin would testify, from a technique standpoint. They don't execute and they don't work on their technique.
What's so different about this? What makes this thing so special? Your new one.
MG.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So the new design for MG5 versus MG4, we focused on 3 design parameters. The first was feel. Feel is so critical to the best players in the world. And I'll go back to a comment that Colin gave me the first time I was working with him when we launched MG3. He was at the Kingdom testing all sorts of different irons and different soles on irons and everything. That was kind of a question that you guys were asking about, or Brad, about soles on irons, where Colin's come in, and we've had sessions with Colin where we've had the same iron head, but we literally had 6 to 7 different sole grinds on that iron head. So yes, you can do sole grind fitting for irons if you're Colin Morikawa. But Colin was telling me after testing the MG3s, he says, hey, Cesar, these feel good. They don't feel great, but they feel good. But go back to your R&D team and tell them that you can't make a wedge feel soft enough for me. The softer, the better, period. So I kind of took that challenge, brought it back to the R&D guys and said, we got to make our wedges feel better. We got to make them feel softer. We got to make them feel more dense, quieter, buttery, all those wonderful words that a player will say about wedges. And MG4 got better with that feel component because we changed our thickness of our back flanges and just centered our center of gravity a little higher and moved kind of the mass pads around, and it got better. It was still the same material and same construction, but MG5 opened us up into a completely new world of feel because we, for the first time in the history of TaylorMade, have a forged wedge into the marketplace versus our previous wedges, which were cast. Most manufacturers in the US are all cast wedges. Shiab, like Mizuno, makes their wedges are forged. But for us, this was our first forged wedge, which allowed us to use a softer material. And the forging process, if you understand the forging process, definitely allows the construction of the club to become more solid, more homogeneous with all of its materials, and things just get a tighter grain structure, and the sound and the feel just go straight through the roof. Why haven't people brought forged wedges? Well, a lot of it's been cost over the years. Cast wedges, you can use a good carbon steel and a soft material in a cast wedge, but when you combine a softer carbon steel and the forging process, kind of magic happens. And that's what happened with MG5. Is now we have what we would say, and the tour players are saying it, the best feeling wedge they've ever had, the softest feeling wedge. And Colin was, you guys finally did it. So that was great.
That's awesome.
How often do you go back to what used to work? I guess I'll liken it to the new Coke. Remember? The new Coke came out years ago. Everyone said, why did you come out with the new Coke? I like the old Coke. Does that ever happen?
In golf clubs, you're definitely going forward because of technology and changes. I mean, you come to my office and you look at the tour bags that I have lined up along my office wall, and I have wedges back from the 60s in my bags and from my dad's garage and things that I brought back just because I get inspired from looking at old shapes. I mean, you're not reinventing from a shape standpoint anything too crazy and too dramatic in a wedge. When you're looking at the best players, there's still this acceptable shaping world. And that's where my eyes really shine because I feel like I can create the best shape in the business out there because of my experience with what I've seen over the years, my testing, my playing ability, and what my dad taught me about how to look at a golf club and what good players want to look at. I mean, yes, we get tons of feedback from our tour players on shape, and that's super important. But I could go up and down the range and take 20 guys, and I'll get 19 different answers on what they like about shape. So you got to find a sweet spot in there, period. What I make for player number 2 might not be what player number 18 likes. So it's a tough dichotomy, and that's why on tour, we will do some subtle grinds. We will do some Frankenstein wedges like we do for Rory. But other guys, if I can nail the shape down, normally they're good with that as is. So I don't know if that quite answered your question, but I love looking at things from yesteryear, but I definitely still look forward.
Yeah. You're saying you do have to clean the grooves of your clubs? Because what you told me about Scotty gave me hope because I don't clean the clubs much.
Yeah.
We've done a 3D scan of Scotty's wedges on his face. And when you look at that at 100,000 times zoomed in, you're like, wow, is that actually a golf groove or a scoring line?
It's funny, you play with some of those really good players and they got like the size of a dime right in the middle and the bottom of the club, their little wedges or something, because they hit it there all the time. And so what I'm saying is I don't have those on my clubs. I don't have it. First of all, I don't hit 1,000 wedges a week and go out and practice and hit it on the sweet spot. If I got that new wedge, would I feel a difference immediately, you think?
100%. You would see immediate improvements and increase of spin. You would see a lower trajectory initially. Now, a lot of players don't understand that a lower trajectory is actually a positive in wedges. People think they want to hit it straight up to the sky and bring it down soft. It actually sometimes, unless you know how to execute that shot, it does the opposite of what you want with it. It's like hitting a high driver high on the face. You hit it high launch, low spin. That's great for driver launch conditions, not as good for wedge launch conditions. So hitting it lower actually produces more spin because you get more friction on the golf ball. It stays on the face a little bit longer, doesn't slide up the face, and it produces more spin.
You guys ever been like near the flag or behind the green when you're playing with a great player and it kind of comes in like this and you're like, it almost looks like he thinned it or scolded it and it's one hop grab. And like, that's when you know the guy's got it.
Can play.
But most people, to his point, like everyone thinks like help the wedge, like that creates the more spin. It's the de-lofting of the club and then obviously ball first, which creates that in conjunction with speed.
Well, the speed into it thing is what will stand out for me today, right? Because decelling, right? How many guys decel? Because they're confusing soft shot with a decel, right? That's everything goes south then, right?
So George, it's like that guy who's helping out at Lock recently, which it's been a great place for us. And we got into the bunker and he's pretty good. But his highest lofted wedge is a 56. And he's like, should I use the 60? And he's just not he's a really good short game, but he doesn't work that blade open enough. So he got in
by the end of the day.
He got in the
He had
bunker.
the thump. He had that thump.
He got in the bunker.
It sounded like a tour player. That was tour quality audio. I don't know where it went, but the audio sounded like Kevin hit it,
But I gave
like
him
a good bass drum.
Gave him that short-sighted one, and the ball kind of run out. And then I said, all right, get in here, take my setup. And he had the ball kind of back, and then he was kind of helping it up. And then we got that ball forward. We got his weight left. And then he just started spanking that thing and the ball was coming up.
How wonderful.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's, again, the main thing I did with him was changed his setup and where the, kind of where the club was looking. So pretty cool stuff.
A lot of the times people put their swings on video and you look at your driver swing and you look at your iron swing. I would say the first thing you should look at on video is your wedge swing. How many people put a camera down in front of them and look at down the line or a caddy view of your little pitch shots, 20, 30, 40-yard shots? It's so revealing. It tells so much, but nobody does it because they don't know what to look at. Like Kevin said, you can see setup issues so clearly in wedges. It is so easy to change if you know what you're looking for just in setup.
Absolutely.
All right. So what are the 3 things in setup? Like you said, weight on the left foot as opposed to back. Is it square shoulders, like you said, versus maybe the slightly dipped right shoulder? 3 things I got to think of.
I mean, for you, I would say people's pressure gets too far right. The handle to offset goes forward at setup, in my opinion. And then I would say the way that they come into the ball, they don't want to come in with speed because they're almost in a driver type setup is kind of what I would say the 3 things are. Everyone's different on who hits. I would probably say, I don't know if you'd agree with me, Cesar, but the average mid handicapper probably does not hit down on the pitch shots enough and their wedge shots enough. It's hard to put everyone in a bucket of you have to hit down because I got guys that'll come in that are some poor players and some good players that are 10, 12, 15 down. And sometimes it's like, it's got to back that off a bit.
Yeah. A lot of times I'll have a higher handicapper that I might be working with, not necessarily one of my club pros, because I only choose great players like Kevin to be on staff with us.
Right.
But when I'm working with maybe Kevin's brother or something like that, I'll get a guy saying that, hey, I'm super steep. And he is super steep, but you can actually put a low bounce wedge in a player that is steep, because a lot of times a guy will lose his shaft angle early. He's actually steep. He's bottoming out before the ball and he's taking a big divot, but early. So he's steep into the ground, but actually if you put a high bounce in that player's hands, that club actually gets stuck into the ground. And it doesn't come out. So there's times when I've given higher handicaps actually lower bounce and the club gets through the ground quicker, even though they're steep, because, I mean, once again, it's a lot of setup and where the bottom of your arc is and the bottom of your low point. But yeah, it's just not cut and dry that if you take a big divot, do you need a high bounce wedge? Come out and see me out in Carlsbad at the Kingdom, and I'll prove that theory out to you in about 2 balls.
The TaylorMade truck was parked like 400 yards from his house, but he had a member guest that weekend, so he got no love there.
Yeah, that's right.
So Mario, how's your game?
Caesar.
No, I love Mario. Because everybody in college, I played college golf at Arizona State. So all my friends, you even know my good old teammate, probably Jim Strickland, don't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So Stricky played on the team with me, but my name was Mario back then. Everybody called me Mario because they knew my dad and the club maker and everything. Nobody called me Cesar in college. But then when I started working in the business, Mario went to the back and Cesar came out front and center. But anyway, there's my...
Cowell Insurance Services is your leading program administrator for workers' compensation. They're dedicated to meeting the unique challenges of the insurance industry and assisting employers in reducing their costs. CIS has provided insurance, claim, and loss control services to various industries, including trucking, construction, retail convenience stores, and healthcare, as well as public entities for over 30 years. They work with both retail agents and industry clients, or a combination of the two. If you're tired of fighting the rising costs of premiums and claims, give Cowell Insurance Services a call. Their dedicated staff is ready to find you the best insurance option at the most competitive price. They can help to define or enhance your safety program in order to move you in the right direction in reducing your claim and premium costs. Contact Cowell Insurance Services today, 816-214-4070.
What's up, Underground? Sully here with a message from our friends over at Bob's Site. Now, buying a new vehicle can be a bit like buying a new set of clubs, which means when you want to drive the ball straight, you seek advice from experts, golf pros like our boy Wardo. And when it comes to buying your next car or truck, you also need expert advice so that you drive away in style. Well, you now have options with the Sight family's expanded dealership, now including Honda and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram in Lawrence, Kansas. And they're there to guide you to the perfect vehicle. With a commitment to exceptional service and a real passion for helping each customer, they're like the trusted golf pros of the auto world. And they're ready to analyze your needs and match you with your ideal ride. So step into bobsight.com or visit their Lawrence locations. Experience the difference of a team that's dedicated to helping you navigate your options, ensuring you drive off with confidence and satisfaction. Hey, Brian Sullivan of Golf Underground with my favorite orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Kevin Whitty from Sano Orthopedics. Hey, Doc, golf season's over. My back is killing me. I know it's football season, so you get a lot of kids coming in, blown ACLs, all sorts of body parts with problems. And then, of course, those baseball players. I know you fix a lot of elbows. Why is Sano Orthopedics the absolute best sports medicine orthopedic group in Kansas City?
Well, if you want to see the guys in town have had the best orthopedic fellowship training in sports medicine, including training with Dr. James Andrews and Dr. Larry Lemack, come see us. We individualize patients' plans to get them back to that activity and that sport that they love. And we actually care and listen to our patients and follow up with them, make sure that they're getting the results they need.
Okay, and so the three things that separate you: number one, best training; number two, you specialize in getting people on that field; number three, you're actually listen. Where can I learn more? Because you got me all in, and I don't really want to get fixed, but it's time.
At SanoOrthopedics.com, 816-525-2840.
Hi, this is George Brett, Hall of Fame baseball player, and I've been playing golf for over 35 years. Hitting the ball far was never my problem, but the closer I got to the greens, that's when my problems began. When I wanted a golf practice area in my backyard, I called Celebrity Greens. They are the industry leader in custom-built synthetic golf greens. These championship caliber, low-maintenance greens roll great, react like real bent grass, and hold chip shots that check and spin. I absolutely love mine, not only in Kansas City, but also in Arizona. Call the pros at Celebrity Greens at 1-888-507-7960 or visit them online at celebritygreens.com. Practice like the pros, or people like me that want to be pros, right in your own backyard.
Hey, Brian Sullivan, Golf Underground, with a little tip for you. If you're looking to buy a new Ford, you have to check out my buddy, Jason Gudenkoff at Lewisburg Ford. They've been saving Midwest Ford buyers thousands of bucks for over 40 years because they do business the right way. They sell everything, check this out, for $50 over invoice. That's simple and cheap. And they win a lot of awards. In fact, they won Ford's President's Award 17 times. That's the top Ford award. And they only give it to dealers with superior customer satisfaction in sales and service. So they know how to take care of customers better than anybody. Now, what these guys know how to do also, keep this in mind, sell trucks. Lewisburg Ford has sold more F-150s than any other Ford dealership in greater Kansas City. That's 2 years running. And last year, they were the number one F-150 sales leader in the entire state of Kansas. So, no hassle. $50 over invoice pricing, unparalleled customer satisfaction, and a huge selection. That's a perfect recipe for selling trucks. So, check out all their inventory and prices online at lewisburgford.com or give them a call at 816-444-2300.
New golf clubs, a big screen TV to watch the U.S. Open, or maybe even a new golf cart that I've got my eye on.
No matter how you choose to spend the savings, if you're looking to put a dent in your monthly heating and cooling bills, the answer may be right over your head. If your attic isn't insulated properly, you're missing out on a prime opportunity to cut costs. Call the certified energy experts at Star Companies, Inc., 816-353-2160 for a free estimate to learn how they can help you save money. 816-353-2160 or visit starcompanieskc.com.
Well, how's your game now?
Yeah, I absolutely have never lost my desire to compete at the highest level. I play senior amateur golf now. Unfortunately, TaylorMade doesn't pay me to play a lot of golf. They pay me to design wedges and take care of club pros, but I've had a nice run of senior amateur golf. I've played in 3 U.S. senior AMs in the last 5 years and have been top 10 ranked in Southern California in the state and senior AM worlds. And it just still drives me to be the best player I can. So I'm constantly working on my game.
He's a stick.
Need to work on my body a little bit. Need to get into that early morning workout session over at the stable.
Let's go. It was early. It was early and often this morning, so it was early. But you know what? We're done in Feel good throughout the day.
I did the workout about 6 years ago, came down here and did it. I couldn't walk for 3 days. Couldn't walk. I mean, I was
just
so
working
sore,
muscles,
couldn't
George.
do anything. And I think I'm in pretty good shape, but all I do is ride a bike and do the elliptical. I don't do all that stretching and put the elastic bands around your thighs and crawl, do all that crap to the other side of the room and back. My legs were on fire.
Ow.
Yeah. I said, Kevin, I'm not doing this anymore.
It's all right. We got enough.
How old are you, George?
72.
64?
72. I'm in the super senior group.
You're looking
He still
great.
hits it 300 with his TaylorMade driver.
With my TaylorMade, all my TaylorMade.
Did we hit Cesar with some emergency 9?
Yeah, do it up. Do it up.
Brought to you by Sheridan's Unforked, eating good, feeling good. All right, Cesar, are you ready?
I am ready.
Just prompt, quick responses.
No thinking.
The best ball striker you've ever seen in person.
Rory.
The best roller of the rock or putter.
Scheffler.
The best golf shot you've seen in person, whether it's just in the Saturday group or on tour. Got him.
Oh, you got me on in person. Yeah.
What about the best shot you've seen on TV, given the circumstances?
I would probably say Tiger's shot out of the bunker at the Canadian Open, 18th hole.
Love it. Excluding Augusta, you got one place to play. Where are you going?
Cyprus.
Favorite tour spot and why?
Phoenix Open.
We don't even need to know the why.
You need to know why.
Do they actually play golf there?
Not in the bird's nest. Do they still have the bird's nest?
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they do.
What's the most common misconception you see with the everyday golfer?
How to generate speed.
Short game or all over?
Short game.
Got it.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. To your last question, all over. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad. Okay.
2 more for you. Your favorite Ryder Cup venue to watch?
I would probably say Whistling was probably one of the best watchable experiences.
Love it. Dream foursome. George is caddying. Who do you got? They can be alive or deceased.
I got my father. I have Palmer, and I have Hogan.
Love that.
You get one more.
You get one
We're
more.
going five
So
some.
fivesome.
Oh, sorry, fivesome.
Yeah.
I thought George was.
Yeah.
No, he's caddying.
Caddying, yeah.
I caddy
Yeah,
for
but-
Kevin in all his tournaments.
You're going to hit 1 or 2 shots. I know that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would have to put Jack in there also.
Love it.
Those are pretty risk-free. See, sir, those are pretty
Yeah,
risk-free.
those were super safe. Those were super safe.
Okay, I got
That was bad.
I got one because it's on this piece of paper. Worst club design you've ever seen.
Cleveland VAS irons.
Oh, yeah.
Not good?
I remember those things.
If you remember the VAS. But they won a major championship. They won the U.S. Open from when Corey Pavin won at Shinnecock.
Those were back in the days of the 845s. You were only cool if you had the 845s with that little yellow like dot thing on the back. That was
Those are Tommy.
It was that.
aren't they?
It was that. And a
845s?
ping back.
Yes, I had those.
Did you?
Yeah.
845s were
Yeah.
Tommy Armours,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
All right, well, I'll ask all of you. The most famous wedge shot in history.
Larry Mize Masters. That's
Are
one.
you talking wedge like chip wedge or?
However you want it.
You got to go Tiger
I
behind
would
16.
say Tiger on
Tigers.
16 at Augusta.
Augusta.
Tom Watson in the Open.
Tom
And then-
Watson in the Open. That's a good one.
Watson.
Gary Woodland on the green.
Oh, that's a good
Heel
one.
up.
So
That's a good
how about
one.
you?
Right?
2 great shots, 2 great Midwest boys there. Woodland actually played the high toe wedge that we designed when he hit that shot when he chipped on 17. So that was kind of cool.
What kind of nerves would you have to do or have to hit that shot in that situation? I mean, that was ridiculous.
Well, they have gummies that fix a lot of that nerve problem right now for me.
Amazing. Amazing. All right. Last question. We got a Ryder Cup coming up. What's your prediction? What's it going to look like coming down the stretch?
I would probably say if somebody's not, depends on how many people are arrested that week from the crowd.
Another reason.
No, I would say Euro is coming in really hot right now with Fleetwood's win and Rory's win, and they're going to be tougher than what they were 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. I think that momentum from those 2 wins from their team has really pushed this matchup so unbelievably tight. But man, home crowd in New York, that's going to be tough to defeat from the Euros, I think.
What team, the Euros or the United States team, who has the most sets of TaylorMades in their bag?
So we have 3 TaylorMade staff guys playing in the event: Rory, Tommy, and Scotty. So we have 3 full TaylorMade guys between the 2 teams.
Yeah. Well, and this is going to be better because remember last time we got our asses kicked, the guys on the U.S. side hadn't played for a few weeks, right? Keegan Bradley's making them play leading into it, which hopefully they're going to, it's got to help in some way, right?
Well, Scheffler's playing this week up at Napa, and I would assume there's probably, I haven't looked at the field, but most of the team, or half the team at least, is playing at Napa this week.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. We need that. These guys can't be sitting around. They got to have, no matter how they play at Napa, you're playing, you're shaking off the rust. You've had 2 to 3 weeks off for the most part. You need to play.
Okay. Hey, final question from me. 18th hole to win the Ryder Cup. It's your boy Scotty versus your boy Tommy Fleetwood. They both have 8-foot putts. Are you being a Switzerland in this thing? Oh, you don't care because they're all, are you going with the Americans?
Well, he said earlier, Scotty's the best putter when the money's on the line.
I'm talking about his heart, George.
Oh,
his
your heart. Okay.
I mean, what do you think?
My heart is what is on my passport. U.S., baby, let's go.
That's all right.
Come on.
I'm sure Tommy would understand, right? That's awesome. Well, listen, Cesar, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it. And just keep making great stuff for the low handicappers, the hacks like me. And the good news is guys like me keep searching for the answers, and it just makes you more money. And isn't that what it's all about?
We need more wedges, Sully. More wedges.
I'm never going to give you every answer to my secrets, okay? Just a little bit at a time.
That's all I want. Speed. Speed is my lesson today. I'm excited to go to the range and just start speed that baby up. Speeding it up.
I want speed, but I want a short shot, okay? That's your goal for today.
That's my homework. It's the homework today. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed today. Mario Cesario, the crazy Italian from ASU. By the way, my son is a Sun Devil. All right. There's to you, baby. All right.
Let's go.
Go beat Arizona. Okay. Go beat Arizona. All right. Thanks again, brother.
Caesar,
All right, boys.